Good afternoon, everybody. Just to let you all know, for those that care, week 5 of prep. It's going pretty well. Energy levels have kind of come up a little bit. I added in some creatine and glutamine, which also caused my weight to kind of plateau a little bit. So kind of hovering around 190, 191 right now. So making middleweight, probably not going to happen because the skin fold tests right now are saying that my body fat's like at 6 to 6.2% depending on the day that I measure. So trying to cut down to 176, highly unlikely. Though I'll probably pull the creatine out before the show, so there will be a little water lost there, so we'll see how it goes. Alright. So today we're going to talk about why you're not meeting your fitness goals. So give you a little story. Last year I was working out on base, and some young soldier walks up to me while I was getting ready to leave, and he's like, "Bro, you're freaking huge." Of course, I was like, "Hey, thanks, man." And then he asked me, "How do you do it?" Well, one, I happened to be waiting for him on the T-bar prior to me executing my sets and reps. And so I watched him perform 3 sets of 10 and get off, right? Barely breathing hard, wasn't breaking a sweat or anything like that, right? So, and then I get up there and throw on a ton of weight, and I go until failure, do a back off set, and go until failure again, and basically you got to peel me off the floor, I go over there. So, and I told him that I told him that I was like, the difference between him and me is that he doesn't apply any intensity. He's not giving 100% in the gym, right? So he's just going in there. He probably pulled some program that he's seen from a magazine, or some friend told him, said, "Hey, do 3 sets of 10. Doesn't know how to train to failure or anything like that. Has no intensity. Doesn't give 100%. He's never going to grow, right?" And then I talked to him about food. I was like, "You got to eat. You have to eat to grow, and you have to eat clean." And he told me he did. And I told him Burger King didn't count, and he looked very offended when I told him that, which probably because it hit him to the core, right? So when it comes to eating, right, and it comes to eating clean, a lot of people don't realize that how many calories or how much food it takes to hit like 3,500 calories, which is where I would put an average bulk for somebody that's about 185 to 200 pounds to start with, right? So if we're talking about clean calories, we're looking at 36 ounces of chicken a day, 6 cups of rice, 6 cups of green beans, and 4 containers of light Greek yogurt to come out to 3,500 calories, which is 404 grams of protein, 362 grams of carbs, and 41 grams of fat, right? So could you imagine how much food that would be if you put it in a bowl and you got to consume that every single day, right? So that's what, when we're talking about eating clean calories and bulking and how much food there actually is, right, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, I could get 3,500 calories from like 2 meals at McDonald's, but the macros suck. The food is garbage. The bioavailability of the protein is not there, right? So all you're going to do is become glucose, or you're going to become, insulin insensitive. You're going to have glucose problems, you're going to get fat, right? So, another reason why, people are struggling to meet their fitness goals is they're not weighing their food, right? So, they just estimate what portions are based off of the size of the plate or the size of the bowl or anything like that. And I don't know how many people will fill up a bowl of cereal or something like that and say that's a serving size. I'm like, no, that's really about 4 serving sizes, so let's go measure it. So you think that you're eating 180 to 200 calories of cereal, and really you're eating 800 calories of cereal. Or when you reach in there and you grab that handful of trail mix that's supposed to be healthy foods, right, and you're like, oh, it's just a handful of healthy food. I'm like, no, grab that handful. So I turn around and look at it. It says 11 pieces. 11 pieces is a serving size, and that's 180 calories. So we're going to take your little handful, right, and 11 says, 40 grams or whatever. So we're going to go over here, we're going to weigh it. You have 400 grams. You have 10 servings in your hand. and you're munching on it, and you wonder why you can't meet your fitness goals, right? Or another one, I'm too busy. I'm too busy, I can't eat, I can't get my meals in. I'm going to tell you how many meals I've missed in the last 4 years, and my wife can attest to this because it actually probably annoys the hell out of her. 0. I've missed 0 meals, and I eat 6 to 7 times a day. I've missed 0 meals. I bring my food with me. I plan ahead. If we're going to go out and we're going to eat somewhere, I know what I'm going to eat when I get there. I know exactly the macros that I'm going to eat. Sorry folks, the GoPro just shut off. But I can tell you exactly how many calories I eat every single day, probably within 50 calories or so. If I go out and eat at like Applebee's and I order something off the menu there, I adjust my macros for the rest of my meals because I was out and I couldn't, I didn't have as much control as I normally would, right? So that's the difference. That's given 100%, right? So everybody's looking for the magic pill or anything like that to keep them on track and to make them reach their fitness goals. There isn't one. There's nothing out there. There's no supplements. There's no fucking steroids, right? I just had a kid the other day message me. I thought I was being trolled. Message me because he wanted to know what steroid cycle he should do next. He's currently on a steroid cycle right now. He's 18 years old. 18 years old, using steroids because his buddy told him that he should be using steroids, right? One, his age, you shouldn't be using steroids when you're that young anyways, right? It's just going to mess you up for life, right? So when he does return to his normal, natural testosterone production, it's going to be lower than what it was before. So, if you look at it, pain over the long run, it's not working out for him. 2, he has not built the foundational skills. So enhanced athletes, enhanced bodybuilders, they have gone and built everything that they could naturally. They've done everything right. Training, diet, recovery, everything they've done right, and now they jump on the enhancements to push them beyond that. This kid went straight to the enhancements right off the bat. He sent me a picture of himself. He's probably, 22 to 25% body fat. Doesn't have a single muscle line. And guess what he has? He's got gyno. He got gyno because he didn't know what he was doing. So you know what I told him to do? Go see his doctor. Tell his doctor exactly what he did. And get his gyno fixed. Get his diet on point, get his training on point, and if he wants to go down that road again, do it like 10, 15 years from now, once everything's, he's plateaued and he can't do anymore, right? So, let's see, anything else that I wanted to cover? Oh yeah, hunger cravings. There's another one, right? So people give in to their hunger cravings. So they'll get on a diet plan, and like my diet plans, so I've pushed out a lot of diet plans for people recently. They've contacted me. And the funny thing is most of them, I've actually, and they're cutting, I've increased their calories. I've changed their macros, but I've increased their calories based off of what they're telling me that they're actually eating, right? So they're not measuring their foods out. Now, I told them they need to measure their foods and stuff, so we'll see, But I've increased their calories. Now, they're going to be hungry because their carbohydrates came down a lot. And they're not eating processed food. Everything they're eating is basically whole produce, right? So you're eating whole foods, chicken, rice, fish, meats, vegetables, stuff like that. A little bit of dairy mixed in here or there, but we're not eating processed foods. But they're going to get hungry. Right? So instead of those hunger cravings where, I seen that Snickers bar and I just wanted to eat it because I was hungry, right? Well, you just set yourself back. You set yourself back a long way. So it's not just the calories, right? So we're talking about what did those calories do to your endocrine system. So if you were hungry, why don't you just go get some spinach? You can eat a whole bag of spinach, which is a lot. Satisfy those hunger cravings, and you ate about 50 calories, and your body's actually going to use more calories in the digestion of that spinach that you're actually going to get out of it. Alright, so no veteran shout out this week, but I wanted to give a shout out to a local bodybuilder. So John Ott. John won the super heavyweight class and the overall last year at the St. Louis Pro, and I ran into him this year at the St. Louis Pro, and he was running a booth. John decided to quit his job and open up a supplement company. It's called Yep, and I support all the local bodybuilders, powerlifters, and strongman that I can. So I bought his pre-workout. One, I got to taste it while I was there, and I got Apple Fire. This is the best tasting pre-workout I've ever had. It's one of those where like I'm sitting there and I'm starting to have like that sugar cravings during the day, and I'm like, well, I could just go have some of this pre-workout because it tastes that great. But hey, go out there if you need a pre-workout. This is an awesome one. I've been using it for the last couple of days, and it's amazing. So go out there, support John. John is continuing on in his bodybuilding career. He's at the national level now. I think he either did North Americans or USA's, and he did the Arnold Amateur. I think he placed 3rd there. So he's doing really well. So go out there, support him, and hey, y'all have a good day. Let's fucking go.